Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing another book review. Today we're going to be looking at The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, the first book in the Wheel of Time. I'll give you a brief summary of this book and then I'll go deep into my review. Okay, so the summary is that we have three young boys who are in the midst of just enjoying their life in their small little village, and everything is uprooted and they're whisked away by a magic user who needs to take them away from man-eating monsters that chase them and a demony spirit that keeps haunting them. And they must traverse through the world, learning about the world as they go, learning about themselves from these evil beings, basically, and also learning who of these three characters is the reincarnation of the Dragon Reborn. Okay, so that's my brief summary of the book. Okay, so my review of this book, of this Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, is going to be kind of quite long. I'm going to try and keep it short, but it might roll into to a long one, and I'm trying to keep it spoiler free, but to really explain this book, you have to give away quite a lot of spoilers. So basically, you're going to first off to say that The Eye of the World, if you haven't read it, you'll know that it basically follows the theme of the Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring. It starts off exactly the same, and some of the characters in the book have a lot of similarities to the Lord of the Rings. So, for example, we have a small little quiet village out in the middle of nowhere, which resembles the Shire, and then we have we have a small group of young adults, older teenagery kids who remind me of the Hobbits, and then we have a magic wielder who is exactly kind of like a Gandalf, and Aragorn is the lone bodyguard who has a fallen kingdom type of thing. He's the king of a fallen kingdom, if you know what I mean. So there's a lot of similarities in this, and there are reasons why there's similarities in this. And I think the main reason is that if you read a bit of biography on Robert Jordan, you'll know that when he first set out to write this book, he actually did say that when he was writing it, he was coming out with different ideas, different characters, and his main character, I think, the main character for his book when he first wrote it, was supposed to be of an older person, like a middle-aged person, and then he just went straight back onto the Lord of the Rings theme, and he re-aged these characters and basically went along against that. And also in his biography, he always wants to say he said he wanted to pay homage to Tolkien, to say how much he loved the Lord of the Rings. So that's why there's a similarity in the book. So yeah, so if you haven't read the series, or if you're one of those people who have a gripe on the book because it has the similarities of Lord of the Rings, then you know that point now. Out of the way, I just wanted to say that. So yeah, I do get the idea that this was a kind of a theme that a majority, like half the book, was following the Fellowship of the Ring. So okay, so going into the characters, when you start reading this book, you kind of get the sense of who your main character is, who is the Dragon Reborn. There's no hidden plots, there's no hidden characters until right at the end. You know that the main character, your main point of view in the book is your Dragon Reborn. There are points in the book where he channels unexpectedly, and his way of using the magic in the book, which is another point I'll explain in a minute, is more powerful than other characters who are using the magic in the book. So we know who the main character is, and not just that, we also know that this character is the Dragon Reborn by basically his appearance. He's not your average person from the two rivers that are in that we are first set out in, like the Shire. Okay, so yeah, so this character he does not look the same as the as the normal people from the Two Rivers, and his birth is kind of a bit complex from the beginning as well. So without giving away too many spoilers, I'll just leave it at that. The one thing I really like about this book is that the world building and the explanation of the characters is done very well. And some people think it's a negative point where Jordan spent so much time explaining situations. Like he'll go into a lot of depth of explaining what a dress looks like, or he'll spend a lot of time, more than once I should say, not a lot of time, he'll spend more than once basically teaching you how to take care of a horse and stuff like that, or how a brick looks, or how the sky looks, or how the environment feels and that. But I don't find that as a negative. I actually find that as a positive, because it brings you into the book. It makes you imagine exactly what the world is like. So that's one of the good points I really liked about that, even though there is a negative for that out there if you do go and watch other people's reviews. The characters in the book, before I explain the characters, I think I'll give a little bit of the political system in the book. Okay, so in this book, men and women are kind of equal. The theme of the book is based in a medieval kind of high medieval world theme. So we still have medieval fighting with swords and arrows and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. But the political theme in it is that the women are seen much higher than the men. They hold a lot more. They hold kind of the same kind of power as men, and usually the women will hold, in an argument, they'll probably win more over a man, whereas compared into other medieval themes, or in the real medieval, women will look down upon, you know what I mean? So in this system, in this world, women are quite powerful. And that's going into the magic system as well, and I think this is the reason why the women are seen more like on an equal level, more higher than men in this book. It's because in the magic system in this book, I see the magic system as a yin and yang. A yin and yang a kind of magic, where there's the white light, the white magic is used by women, whereas the dark is used by men, and the dark magic, the black part of the yin and yang symbol, what the men use, I theorize, is that it's tainted, because we're going into a bit of a spoiler here, that the men are not allowed to channel magic in this story, in this series, because at the wheel's creation, and when the creator, which is the god in this world, when he created existence, he sealed away the dark enemy in this book. And when the dark enemy is sealed away, he basically corrupted the man side of magic. So any man that channels this is the theme of how they use magic in this series, in this book, is they channel magic. So if a man channels magic in this system, he will eventually become tainted. He'll go mad, and he will become corrupted himself. And in the process of him becoming corrupted, he will start destroying and killing the people and places around him. So men are kind of discouraged and are feared upon using magic in this book. And there's a whole political system of women magical use in this, and they're called Aes Sedais. And they have their own political structure in their little order. So they're coloured structure in their order, and they have all one part of the order basically goes around and hunts men who channel, and they do a thing called gentling. They gentle men who use the power, which is basically blocking them from using power, taking away their ability from using power. So this also, I think, goes into a theme where this is why women are more powerful, because they're only allowed to use magic, and also kind of adds to the fear of why a lot of people don't like the Aes Sedai. So I know I'm rushing into a lot of things here, so bear with me, keep with me. Is also that these magic users, these women, these Aes Sedai are kind of they're feared as well as praised type of thing. So they're feared that they're very powerful magic users, and they're feared because if they can like come down on you and take away your magic if you're a man and you channel it. So there's kind of also, sorry, going in another spoiler here, and also that it's believed that the women broke the world when they were channeling and fighting the Dark One, basically. So yeah, so the magical system in this book is very complex, and I actually quite enjoy it. And it also gives that equality to women in the book, it makes them seem more powerful. Okay, so going next. Okay, so what would be next? Okay, so our characters. So I'm going to explain our characters here. So we have 3 young boys, and like I said at the beginning, we know who our Dragon Reborn is. So we have one boy who we know who our Dragon Reborn is, and he looks completely different. All characters are completely different, and we have another character who is a very massive, like a blacksmith apprentice. So he has very big muscles, and he's a character that looks like he can break you if he holds you. But the shocking point is he's very gentle, he's very kind, and he's portrayed as very slow. And he explains himself in the book why he come across as slow. And his ability manifests in the middle of the book, I believe. And which I was quite surprised that for 14 books, this character, one of our side characters, his ability manifests this early in the series. So I was quite surprised about that. And I do like what his ability is. So like I said, I'm not going to explain it too much because I don't want to give away spoilers, but I've already have. So. And then we have another character who is that character who's a joker. He's always messing around. He's always quick with his mouth, and he does dumb things. And he's that character that gives the what's his name? Matt. So our brute guy was called Perrin, and Matt is our joker and our in your face guy, and always making jokes, always opening his mouth when he shouldn't, and stuff like that. And he doesn't have any ability, say, manifest in the book yet, but he does come a bit tainted by an object he finds. And he's that character that gives me the idea that, you know, he's going to be the first to die, because you always have that one character who's annoying, he's in your face, and he's always going to be the first to die. So I wouldn't be surprised if later in the series he dies, but he didn't die in this book, which was quite a shock. Okay, so that was the boys, and then we have some girls, and I'm going to try and pronounce their names, but they're quite difficult. So we have Egwene, and she's basically Rand's love interest, and they have a kind of like a awkward relationship with each other, but it is stated near the beginning of the book that these two characters are destined not to be together, so they can't be together. It's their destiny not to be together. Egwene basically has she seems to have the ability to wield the she seems to have the ability to use the power, the magic in this book, and she's taken under Moraine's wing, who is our Aes Sedai Gandalf-style character in this book, who leads our hobbits, our 2 river children out into the world. And so she kind of takes Egwene under her. Moraine takes Egwene under her wing and teaches her about the magic and stuff like that. So Egwene is a kind of character who shouldn't have really been there. She shouldn't have been in the escape from the 2 rivers when they were getting chased by these man-eating monsters. And so she's out more interested in the world and that, and she's like a person she wants to get out and she wants to experience the world, but most of our other characters don't really want to. They want to be back in the 2 rivers and continue their life as they want. So that's Egwene. Egwene also gives me at the point that she's a kind of annoying character as well. She's always has a always has a sly remark, and she's always looking down on everyone, even though I think she's supposed to be younger than the three male characters. So she does kind of come across annoying. So to say I'm happy that the main character and her are not going to get together, then so yeah, that's how I feel. And there's also another character. Her name is Naive. Well, that was a name that took me ages to try and learn to pronounce, and I still don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Naive, I think. And she's the village's wisdom. So this is like a village, kind of like a witch, basically. She doesn't use power. She doesn't use the magic to heal people. But she has the knowledge on basically what happens in a village. So she can heal. She can cure diseases. She can take care of the children. She even knows how to, when the weather's going to change, so the crops can be harvested and stuff like that. And the wisdom seems to have an ability to hear the wind, so that's how come she can guess when the seasons change and the crops are good for harvesting and stuff like that. Naive comes across as a character who is very frustrated. She's always angry, and she has a kind of rivalry with Moraine, but was only inside of herself. She comes in the story in the middle of the book, and she's dragged along because Moraine sees her as part of the wheel, and I'll explain about the wheel in a minute, which I should have done right at the beginning. But yeah, so Naveen is also, so she comes across as kind of like a grumpy old witch type of character that would live in the village and take care of all the people and stuff, like people would go to for medicine and that. But she's a young character. She's only a few years older than the boys, basically. And so going into our next character, we have Lan. And I know who Lan is, because I accidentally read the prequel book, what was it again? What was the name? Basically, my first review of this series, and I know who Lan is. But Lan, in the story, in this book, Lan comes across as a quiet, brutish, like a stone-faced person, but he's very good with the sword, and he's basically Moraine's bodyguard type of thing, and he's very cold, and he does have some quick remarks for the boys and stuff like that, and stuff like that. And there's a point in the book that I find a bit not shocking. I knew it was coming, because in the book, the point where there's a scene in the book, without giving away too much, the scene in the book where Naveen is kind of left behind, not kind of left behind, but she hasn't come back from a mission that they had from a task they had to do, and Lan and Moraine are having a kind of in their head kind of argument, because Lan is bonded to Moraine, and I think one of their abilities is to communicate with each other without actually speaking, and Lan has a kind of a moment where seems like he wants to go and rescue Naveen, so shows a kind of like a spark of relationship starting there, and Moraine is against it. And later in the story, we learn that Lan and Naveen are kind of having a very awkward relationship. It's like a relationship that cannot be, but the characters are mooning over each other. If you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to go and I've talked a lot. I haven't stopped talking, so I'm kind of confusing myself now what else I need to speak. So okay, so the wheel. Let me explain the wheel, which I should have done from the beginning. Basically, the book's metaphor, the wheel of time, is basically a big, in my mind, it's a spoke that will go on a carriage, on an old medieval carriage, and this wheel is ever revolving, even though it takes thousands and thousands of years to revolve. And they have, I think it has, in the book it states 7 spokes, and each of these spokes, I think there's 1,000 years in between these spokes, is already pre-designed future and past. So why we have why it's called a Dragon Reborn is that this Dragon Reborn has been reborn thousands upon thousands of times, I believe, and he's always fighting the evil one, the enemy in this story. So we're in a prophecy. So it's like a kind of rebirth, like a reincarnation type of system, which is taken from the east, basically the Far East. And so this wheel is ever weaving. So it's like a weaving wheel that it changes but follows history type of thing. So reincarnation. And and these three characters seem to have the ability to change the weaving or be guided by the weaving, and something very, very, very strong on this wheel, and that's why our Aes Sedai Moraine is very interested in these three characters. So I'm going to go into Dark One. Basically, we have this Dark One who's been locked away from the beginning of creation, and he's through the wheel, through the spinning of the wheel, and through reincarnation, he's been trying to take hold of the world. He's trying to break free, and he's trying to just gain control of the world for himself and his own minions type of thing. And in the book, we have these nasty mythical creatures that are, if I'm correct, if I read it correctly, they were originally men or something, and they were changed by dark magic or something. I'm not sure. I might have got that completely wrong. And then we have these half-men fades that are just like how can I explain? They're like kind of like what's the best way to say? They have the physique as a human, of course, but they have no eyes, and they have like a kind of like a demony, vampire-y kind of mouth type of thing, if you get what I mean. And these characters are always on the hunt for our main characters, for our boys, to try and capture them. And it seems like, if I understand correctly, that they don't want to kill the Dragon Reborn. They want to kind of like change him, so bring him on the enemy side and use him that way, instead of the Dragon Reborn being used on the side of light. So I don't know how the series is going to play out in that point, but it seems like the Dragon Reborn can be used on either side. So he's not just a character for light, basically, if you know what I mean. He's not a character for light that he's always reborn to save the world from the darkness. That he can actually be used for the darkness to lay shadow over the world, basically. Okay, so I've talked a lot, and I think I've said a lot in this book. There is one extra character, and his name is Thom. Basically, he's called a gleeman. I probably completely botched his name, but he's a gleeman, and he's like a court jestery musical character, basically, if I get that correct. He basically travels around the world entertaining people with his stories of history, playing his flute and his harp and stuff like that. And this character is like, at first, he seems to appear to be a kind of like a tag-along, and we don't quite understand what he is at first, why he's there, and he's just like, if you're going to this place, I would just like to tag along for the company and for the security type of thing. But he has some strange abilities, and not only is he like classed as like a gestury type of character, he's very good with knives, like in assassin ways. So, and in the book, he actually does take a fall in the book, but I have this feeling he's not gone. So I'm really interested to see exactly what he is, who he is in the coming series, because he has a lot of hidden points about him, even though he's just a hidden character, and he takes a liking to the boys. Okay, so I think that's all I can say about this book. Like I said, this is a long explanation of this book, and I really enjoyed it. It was one of those books I really enjoyed, and I'm remembering more stuff now, so I'm going to give you my negative points on the book. So here we go. Okay, so the negative points on the book. The book drags. The book does drag, but I think it's designed like that. I think the book is designed like that. You know, he's got, like, for example, he can spend 3 or 4 pages explaining how to take care of a horse, or what a dress looks like, or how a field feels, or how somebody inside feels, and stuff like that. But the book does drag in certain points. There's a point where all our characters split up into 3 groups, and some of the stuff in the book, like I'm going to go to Pyrian's a character arc where he grows and becomes and he manifests into what he's going to be. That part of the book was good. It dragged, but it was good, and I enjoyed it. We could learn about other parts of the world, other characters, other cultures and stuff like that, which was excuse me, which was fine, and I had no problem with that. And then there was another point where Moraine and Naveen got put together with Lan, and like I said, we learn we get a hidden side of a kind of battle between Moraine and Naveen in basically just in Naveen's head, and how she views the Aes Sedai and stuff like that. And then there is Rand and Mat, who get separated together, and I understand that we want to learn about the world through their eyes, and how they grow, and how Rand manifests his first channeling in the book, basically. But there's a point that I thought, why are we doing this again? And that basically was by tavern hopping. He was constantly, the 2 characters were constantly tavern hopping. We were going from one tavern to another tavern to another tavern and to another tavern. I honestly don't know how many taverns we went to. And I thought, why are we doing this again? The first few times it was like, oh yeah, this is nice. You know, we're learning about these characters and the world and what's out there. And then we go to another tavern and we're like, okay. And then it gives a point in there where Rand uses his first channels, and then he has the after effects of channeling. And then we go to another tavern, and we're like, why do we have to keep going through taverns? It's already done. So that point for me was a bit like, why are we here? That's my only negative point about the book. The ending of the book, the end of the book in The Blight, was well, I can't really say it was rushed. I enjoyed it, but we did go through The Blight very quickly, and then we come up to the Eye of the World, which is basically the story itself, the name of the book of the story, and we meet the Forsaken, and Rand, I believe he battles the Forsaken, and he battles the enemy in this book. And it wasn't really explained exactly what happened there. It was really difficult to understand. What was his name? Bazerman, Bazatine, Bazantumain, Baziman, Bazeman. I can't even pronounce his name. This was the enemy in this book. This character who was almighty and could manipulate our characters, not manipulate them such, but basically keep them on the toes and keep them moving. And his end to the story was kind of weird, and I don't know if it gets explained in the other series and stuff like that, but you know, yeah, so that was a bit of a weird one for me. I couldn't quite understand that. And after Rand comes out and he says, I killed him, and I think I'm going mad, blah, 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 and stuff like that. Moraine looks up to him and goes, yeah, you're probably going mad, like that. And it's just like, okay, you know, I was left a bit thinking about that. But anyway, that's my review of the book. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm looking forward to reading the next book in the series, which is The Great Hunt, I believe. And yeah, so I did go through this book quite quickly, because I was quite surprised that I actually read through it quite quickly. So yeah, so my final point and my final rating, I'd give this book basically 5 out of 5. I'm not gonna give it a 4 because of the taverny bits, and maybe the ending felt a bit rushed, but I actually enjoyed it a lot. There's a lot in this book. There's a lot of characters. a lot of like characters you never meet again. There seems to be characters we're meeting that will become relevant in later part of the series. And so yeah, okay guys, so I say thanks for watching. I babbled on a lot there. This video is going to be long. I hope you can understand it, and yeah, so if you enjoyed this, give it a like and subscribe to my channel.